about 3 months before Space started, all my girlfriends were going to Pinewood, and, you know, everybody talks to each other. Are you going? Oh, everybody wants to know they do better than you. And so all my girlfriends, they were short and thin and fat and red hair and blonde hair and da-da-da-da-da, all going up, nothing. I asked my agent, I said, no. So I thought, okay, fine. And I thought it's American-based, and I didn't think they would want someone like me. They would want someone very glamorous and sexy, and I thought, oh, not me. So I then did a little play for the BBC. We had a children's program there called Jackanory, which is sort of 5 o'clock. And now and again they used to do little specials. And this little special was called, it was a little Persian play. And it was called Robbio with the long hair. Poor wardrobe went, hairdressing went, you know, long hair. I have possibly one of the shortest hairstyles have done for a long time. So when I got it, they had to put 3 wigs together. So I had this long hair. And the funny thing was that the first time we did it, my prince was Stuart Wilson. But unfortunately, the BBC had a strike on who wound up the clock for play school. Did the carpenters wind it up because it was a piece of furniture, or did the electricians wind it up because it was electric? So they had a dispute, and the BBC went on strike, so we were cancelled at the last minute. We couldn't, we had rehearsed for 5 days, we couldn't go into studio. So then they did it again. I had a different prince this time, and so I was rehearsing that, and into studio on Friday. So my agent rings me up on Thursday, and he said, oh, can you get to Pinewood tomorrow? And I said, no, sweetie, you know, I'm in studio, which means, you know, if anybody in the family dies, you still can't go, because it's not in the contract. You have to go. You can go afterwards, but you've got to be there. So I said, no, you can't. I said, can't I go Monday? He said, no, be gone by Monday. You know, they've been looking for this person for 3 months now. They're shooting next week. It'll be gone by Monday. So I said, fine. So I do my Jackanory Playhouse thing. Oh, well, there we go. And anyway, my agent then leaves a message saying, no, you can go up on Monday. And I thought, oh, wow, Pinewood, miles away. And he said, oh, God, you know, you're telling me why don't I go up? Now I tell you to go. Oh, actress is terrible. Oh. I said, okay, fine, I'll go. So Monday I go up. I meet Sylvia Anderson and Lee Katzin, the American director, and they said, we don't know, you can do what you want in terms, we want an accent. Originally it was meant to be Italian, Sandra Sabatini, and Nick was Catani, because RAI had a third of the money. And but they said, it's up to you now. You do whatever you feel comfortable. So I do not intend to be disrespectful in any way when I say this. So I said, Italian accent. And I was thinking to myself, it's very musical. It's very lilting. And I thought, when I have to say my lines, it slows. I mean, I've been watching Italian. It's wonderful and it's great, but you're all doing it. But if one person doesn't do it, because Nick was now Australian, so I would be the only Italian person. And so my first lines on Space was, there is a steep rise in heat levels in disposal area 1. This is impossible. I do remember. Because I, to this day, don't know what I was saying. I thought, well, what does this mean? Oh, there's a steep... Oh, I'll just say it and hope. So I thought, if I say it in Italian, with an Italian accent, so forgive me, this is no disrespect, it would be, there is a steep rise in heat levels in disposal area 1. This is impossible. And I thought, you know, I know they're Italian space rocket people, but that's neither... This television is not reality. So I said, okay, can I do a foreign accent? I'm always playing kidnapped daughters of heads of state, terrorists kidnapping somebody else's daughter, always a country that is mid-European, something that, again, no one knows because it's television and it's not reality, but they always want a funny accent, not straight English, and mine is a very straight English accent, which people cannot believe. So, I said, well, I would say, there is a steep rise in heat levels in disposal area 1. This is impossible. So that's Monday. I do that. I go home. Tuesday, they ring my agent. Wednesday, I start. And so we get down, and the few days is to iron things out, you know, put our costumes and fiddle about with things. And Lee Katzin said, Zienia, he said, well, you're obviously not Italian. I said, no. he said, "So, what's your accent?" And I said, "I don't know. I mean, you know, it's foreign Mark 1, you know, and foreign Mark 2 is louder or softer, but this is foreign Mark 1. So he said, "Well," he said, "What do you sound like?" I said, "I don't know, you tell me, you know. This is out of my head, I don't know." So he said, "Oh," he said, "you sound mid-European." I said, "Fine, good. That's what I was meant to do, so I got that right." And he said, "So what do you want to be called?" And I said, "Well, sorry, I don't know very many mid-Europeans, so I don't know many surnames." So he said, "Oh, wait a minute. In downtown LA, there's a very good delicatessen called Benish's. You are now Sandra Benes." So that was how I started on Space. Well, yeah, I mean, I used to watch, you know, Thunderbirds, and I still watch it now. It's on at 11 o'clock, don't tell anybody. And Captain Scarlet and everybody else, and certainly UFO. And UFO was meant to continue, but we know there's Jerry Anderson can tell that story. Yes, I was very excited. I know nothing. I mean, I don't drive. I can just about change a plug. But I'm totally useless. Computers are rocket science to me. So for me to get a Sci-Fi series is unbelievable, but it's like Robbio with the long hair, isn't it, really? But it was wonderful, and the sets were just amazing. When we walked in, I mean, Main Mission was enormous, and an incredible professional crew. Barbara and Martin, obviously, you know, from Mission Impossible we knew. So, I mean, I was thrilled, and also, I mean, it ended up, in the first series, we were working on it for 15 months. So that's a long time out of one's life, and for an actress, that's a lifetime job, practically, you know, because usually you get 2 weeks here and 3 days there, and 15 months. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, I was thrilled. And also, at the time, it was, you know, all the hype was it's the most expensive series ever made, television series, and you can tell by the quality, you know, and everything else. And then Keith Wilson, in his interviews, has a wonderful piece where he says, in fact, the first year, I mean, the British industry, yet again, was going through bad times. It goes through it practically every other year. And we kept Pinewood open. We were the only show that kept Pinewood open. This is from Keith, who knows all these sort of things. But so I was thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled. But, you know, at the end of the day, I am what they call a jobbing actress. So I have no preconceived ideas. I hopefully do my work 120%. I hope I'm happy. But that's always a luxury that you get afterwards, you don't expect. But it was wonderful to do. The only directions I was given was the fact that my name changed from Sabatini to Benes. They had this terrible thing on the first day in Main Mission, which was awe-inspiring, and we were all in our little costumes, and they said, "Right, everybody, we're doing a little trial piece. So we want you all to come up, there's the camera, and you all come up and introduce yourselves, say whatever you want to say." I am, believe it or not, I'm not, but I was, you know, 30 years ago, very, very shy, and very diffident as an actress. And I thought, oh no, I cannot do this. This is, you know, give me the lines, say action, I'm doing it. But I could never have done this 30 years ago, right? No way. You'd be prompting me. Now you can't stop me. That is what age does, folks. So I thought, and Prentice is very kind of English, and again, very reserved. So we both looked at each other and went, oh. Barry, of course, was Barry, a character. He sat on one of those Moonbase Alpha chairs with the Times newspaper and went, oh, hello. I'm preparing, but, you know, I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm doing. And then we had Lon Satin was was he whatever? Well, he was an American cabaret artist, right in there in your face, used to it, thousands of people, you know, doing the dance, the song. He comes on. Hello, I'm Benjamin Umar. Woo. Nick Tate, gung-ho, you know, good old Aussie. Oh, hi there. And he actually elected. Now, I, as an actress, try and keep things really small. I move from here to here because I'm capable of falling over just by moving here to here. I want to keep it simple, very, very simple. Good old Nick comes down. Now, I know me, if I'd come down those stairs, I would have fallen down. You know, I just know, woo! And it's not meant to be funny, but he comes bounding down those stairs, and he actually says, I think, something from All About Eve, you know, hang on to your thingies, everybody, we're in for a bumpy ride. And I'm thinking, he's clever as well, and he's doing this, and it comes to me, and I go, I sort of creep up to camera, I say, hello, I'm Zienia Merton, and I'm playing Sandra Benes, and that's about all I can do. And that's... So I think from that they thought, oh my God, what have we got here? So I became shy, diffident Sandra. And so, but, you know, you can't have all of us going gung-ho, so I think that was fine. And also, I mean, I loved Sylvia for this. I think in Black Sun, I had a fiancé, and I always feel as an actress that whatever, male or female, whoever they give you as a partner, a boyfriend, a lover, if it's someone sexy, they think a lot of you. And if it's somebody boring, they think, you know, she's not worth it. So when I found I had Paul Jones as my fiancé, I thought, woo! I am so pleased. So Paul was my fiancé, and we had lots of silly things which you don't actually see, don't come across there in the background, but we used to have monitors, you know, in main mission, and people, there were little things to make it human. People were saying things like, oh, the shuttle's just arrived from Earth, you know, everybody go and collect your mail. It was all in the background, you couldn't see. And I think one of the monitors said something like, this is to announce the last table tennis competition which Sandra and Mike Ryan have won. They did silly things like that, you know, just to make it look, you didn't see it, but what the funny thing is that when you put things like that into a show, which even if people aren't going to see, this is what gives you, or you know you're into a very classy show, that they're showing things and bothering about things that are not actually going to be on screen. So anyway, so we had this great thing with poor old Mike, and of course he gets swallowed up by the Black Sun. So then they brought this thing in of Paul saying goodbye to me, and then it just sort of, you know, it developed. Every time there was a moment, it would be Paul and I, you know, looking at each other. In another time, another place, we ended up having babies. And then, I think, but it was one of those things, you know, one episode we wouldn't talk to each other, next episode we were having babies, you know, and then next episode we weren't talking to each other again, so I don't know. But that's, you know, series. And then, of course, in Full Circle, I had both Nick and Paul. And the caveman, you know, I mean, very greedy Sandra, you know, I thought, whoopee, this lucky lady. Right, Sylvia was the most amazing person. She was a very people person, very friendly. Her office door was, you know, I mean, she had a secretary to stop, but I mean, you could see her about anything. You could see her about anything. Jerry, I think, basically is a very shy man, you know. I have a friend who's a producer who's also very shy. You always think people like producers and directors are all gung-ho, but it's like you think actors are all gung-ho, and they're not all of them like that. So, but Sylvia was amazing, and that's why year one was such fun. Because she was so good with dealing, and you know, I've told the story of when I found, I think the second script came up, which was a matter of life and death, and I do, you know, all actors do this. They say they don't, but don't you believe them? They voo, how many lines have I got? You know, and I sort of going through it quickly, and I go, what? And it says, you know, we go down, Prentice and I, Barbara and Martin go down to this planet. It's all beautiful and strange. And then funny things start happening. And suddenly, Prentice is standing there, and they were going to use that big bird-eating spider from James Bond on his shoulder. And I'm meant to be all heroic and saying, ooh, don't worry, you know. So anyway, I read this, and I think, I am paranoid. I have moved out of my flat because I saw a big one, and I had people in to hunt the spider, get rid of it before I got in again. And that's how, you know, I'm just not normal about them, rational about them. And so I think, oh my God, what am I? So I rushed down the stairs, and Steve Lanning, who was our second, said, "What's the matter? You're completely white, ashen." I said, "Oh, this is unbelievable. I have to see Sylvia. I have to see Sylvia." So I go, secretary, and she said, "Oh, no." I said, "I've got to see her now." And they're thinking, the woman's gone mad, I hadn't been working with them long. They didn't know me. This woman is mad. No, I have to see her now. Not after lunch, now. So I go in, and I said, "Sylvia, I don't know how to say this." I said, but, I don't know how to, it's the next week. She said, "Oh my God." She said, "You're not pregnant, are you?" I said, "Oh no, much worse, much, much worse." And she said, "Well," I said, "What is this spider? I'm not working with a bloody spider. I mean, I can't, I'm so phobic about them that I can't even get near, I back." I said, "I'm never going to get close enough to Prentice to do that." I said, "Apart from which," I said, "the spider comes in, I'm out. I'm going home. That is if I get here anyway." So I said, "I don't care. I'm sorry. You can sack me, you can sue me, but there is no amount of acting I can do to do this." So she said, "Oh," she said, "Spiders with you?" She said, "Mine is mice." And I said, "Oh." And she said, "Well, in my last house," she said, "I had a chaise longue, and I was lying there, and I heard sort of, and she thought, oh, a bit of paper or something, and then she said, it's a mouse." And she jumped off and started screaming, and Jerry came in, and she started saying, "Oh, it's a mouse." And Jerry saying, okay, get rid of this. She said, no, we don't get rid of the chaise longue. She said, "We move house." So I don't know whether that's true or not, but she was very simpatico about it. But they changed it not because I was frightened, I think, but they felt that spiders was very much an earth phobia. It was, snakes, spiders is an earth phobia. So they made me go blind instead. I think they thought, if I went blind, I won't see the spider, but no. That's... And poor old Prentice had his comlock explode or something, but anyway, that's what happened. No, I mean, we got on very well as a team, I think. I did christen Nick, Prentice, Clifton, Anton and myself as the second 11, which is an English cricketing term for the second team. Barbara and Martin and Barry were the first team. So I used to sort of say, "Okay, guys, second 11. So when we had parties and things, we'd say, "Second 11, invite you, to a party on stage after work or something." It was sort of a joke because, we were the lesser people. We all got on. I mean, you have a very long day. I mean, you start off in makeup at 7:30, you finish at 5:30. What we did have again on the first year was, L&M stage was miles away from the main Pinewood admin buildings and the cafeteria. And, again, they was good. They used to get a car for us, so it would actually take you 15 minutes, actually, to walk to the canteen and back. So if you only have an hour for lunch, half of it, and if it's hot or raining, you're going to... So they always had a car for us. They'd take us there and bring us back. And so on the first year, we just had our table, which, and again, we had a really nice restaurant manager who was very kind, and that was, so we always sat there. This was... You didn't have to worry about other people coming in. We just sat there. And we always used to, if we were there called at doing the same things, we used to have lunch together, which I think is nice because a lot of people don't even want to talk to each other. And we kind of, I used to say, we used to help you, can't be all up all the time. So one week, maybe it was me going, "Oh, I'm really fed up." And the others were going, "Ooh," and so, and then next week maybe Nick was saying, "Oh, I don't know, why am I doing," you do this. We're always ungrateful. We're never happy with what we've got. So we kind of, but we didn't, but the other thing I did too, which is I was always aware, I'd worked a lot abroad, and I know what it's like to have Sunday in another town. It's very lonely. You find the church or anything, but not like now. Everything's closed, and there's very little for you to do. I used to loathe it. I'd be in my room, and it was just kind of, you missed home, even if you were having a great time. And so we had a lot of Italian guest stars. So I used to say, and I'm very, very sorry that the very first one. Now, cut this. Absolutely, because I'm just trying to think. This is where I found out that Giancarlo was doing the first one, and I don't know. We went in after. And I said, what did you do or something? He said, well, not much. And I said, oh gosh, sorry. And then I found out he was staying not in London in town, but at a place Berkhamsted, which is a lovely little English market town. But quite honestly, I do certainly filming. I've done everywhere. You stay in town. Because if you want to go and get something from Marks and Spencer's or you want to see a movie, it's all near. You don't want to have to take a bus and a train and a car and you want to just go out and do it. So I was mortified to find that not only was he not in town, but he was like in the middle of nowhere, And I did get cross. So after that, I would say, if there were Italian artists, I would say, are you doing anything this weekend? If not, this is my address. I will have Sunday lunch, from 1 o'clock. Prentice and Nick and Clifton. It was usually those three, because Anton was newly married, so he didn't want to be with us. Had a little beautiful wife, Judy. So I'd do that, and so they would come round, just have some wine and some food, and at least have 3 hours not on their own. So that's what we did. But in terms of within the cast members, the boys were so lucky. I used to get so angry. They'd all be out dancing and partying and gambling, and they'd come in and say, I only had 2 hours sleep, and they'd all look sexy and macho, and I, with 6 hours is still woo, 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 and doing that, and I didn't look sexy in anything, I just looked tired. So that answers that, I hope. The leopard skin, yeah. Well, that was Full Circle. Smart, I'm all right. Bob Kellett, it was his first one, and he'd been brought in to kind of zing up the series, I think, or do something, or inject a bit of action. So Bob's idea was actually to go outside. He said, let's open it up, go outside. It's always a different feel, And if you're doing it in November in England, it's always a different feel. It's jolly cold. So anyway, Bob said, this is Full Circle. And also the interesting, I learnt at one of the other conventions from Keith Wilson. So he told me the reason Full Circle was commissioned was because they'd had the ice planet, Ultima Thule, and they wanted to make use of it to save some money. So the ice planet was white, and Full Circle was brown caves. But they are exactly the same caves. And they decided that Bob wanted me to play Sandra to play the girl who was captured, because he felt that I would be very vulnerable, or the audience would identify with me as being vulnerable. So anyway, Bob called me and said, okay, Zienia, you're going to wear a leopard skin. And he said, none of this, Raquel Welch in 10,000 years BC with a maiden form bra with a bit of fur. He said, no. This is a leopard skin. It was that big, a real leopard. It was several hundred years ago. It was running around. He said, go into wardrobe and you make a costume out of that. I don't care how, but you make a costume out of that with Eileen. So I go in and we sort of draped it, and then we got a bit of tail, and I sort of pushed it here, and a bit of ear, and I pushed it there. And they gave me a little pair of flesh-coloured panties, and that was it. And I was sewn into it. And then we went out into, I've always called it Black Park, which apparently is wrong, but I still call it Black Park. If I've been doing it for 30 years, I'll carry on. A little caravan, and it was, all the crew out there, and me and the other people. And literally, if I wanted to go to the loo, I had to ask one of the girls, please, can you undo me and take the pins out? Then, So, that was it. We did it. And then I had to be running, because they're all chasing me. And I had to fall by the tree because I'm tired, and I fell by the tree. Now, this was November, middle of November in London, in England, and it wasn't snowing, but it was not warm. It was not this sort of weather. and it was raining, it was drizzling. So what they used to get for me was a big plastic sheet like that, bag. And not because they were worried about me, but the fur got wet, you see, and the fur takes longer to dry. Actresses, quick towel, they're ready. Fur, no. So I used to crawl in there if it started to rain or whatever, and, you know, so there was some rather funny jokes going on about that. And then anyway, Gladys, who was our wonderful, Gladys Goldsmith, our continuity lady, was there through thick and thin, absolute lovely lady, and she used to sit there in her little stool just under the camera, you know, doing continuity. So I'm thinking, and they say, right, action, so I sort of get up, and I'm in not much dialogue, and I'm sort of, and Gladys is going, Zienia, and I said, sorry? And she said, And I said, what? And she said, And I thought, well, it's not my line. And I looked at it, and of course, I've fallen out, haven't I? And they say, cut. And the crew said, oh, spoils for. And I said, oh, come on, you know, you got better at home. You can't see anything here. So that was... Absolutely nothing. Second 11s don't get told anything. They take away the bat and the ball, and that's it. No, I heard nothing. I know that by September, I got contacted by ATV or ITV, whatever, and one of the secretaries rang me, and she said, Zienia, we're getting so much mail for you. And I went, what? Because I expected Nick to get mail, you know, sexy thingy, but I didn't expect it anywhere. But I was getting a lot of mail. And in fact, Nick came to my flat and we were photographed for an article. I don't think it was ever printed, but, you know, they were saying that out of everybody at Alpha, we got the most mail. But this was something different. And they said, there is one man who's writing to you, and care of ITV, and he's writing to you every single day, 7 times a week. He's sending photographs and stuff. Normally we discount, which is naughty actually, because the fans think it's going to come to me. I am cross about this. I do get very angry. And so they send, and they think Zienia Merton hasn't bothered to reply, you know. But if I don't get it, I can't reply. But anyway, so this is ITV, which actually doesn't say an awful lot. Hello. Doesn't say an awful lot, you know, but I don't know why it went wrong. Usually they should forward you your mail. It's up to you. If you ignore it, then that's fine. But, you know, they shouldn't make the decision. But they said this man is just bombarding us with mail. And he's actually saying, if this is not passed on to Zienia Merton, I will personally come over and put a metrodome over you so you can't, you know. I mean, they were saying this is really weird. So I said, well, you better send it. So it came. It was a pile that thick. So I thought, oh, well, there's some impact. I think it went out, they weren't bothered about it, having spent all this money on it. They put it out against Doctor Who, which already had 16 years following. So why? It was 5:20 on a Saturday evening. So they did that for a couple of weeks and said, oh, nobody's watching, because they weren't, you know, they were watching Doctor Who. So then they put it out at about 11 o'clock in the morning, so everybody's asleep or at the supermarket, you know. Who's going to look at something, you know, you do it because you're catching a train or so, no. So I heard nothing. Then I think towards the end of the year, and I never listen to rumours, you know, unless I get the contract, it doesn't mean anything. It's dream time. You know, speech is free, contracts are binding, or should be. So I got rumours, feedback that not everybody was going to be back. Jerry and Sylvia had split. A new producer was coming in. How much I know about this now, this might be, but I know that basically they said to me that not everybody was coming back. Again, no one tells you who, do they? They have to make it all mysterious. And they said, but you are definitely coming back. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Definitely. They said, you are definitely. And I thought, oh, my God. So that's all I knew. And as I said, you know, until they get a contract, you get a contract. It doesn't mean anything. So anyway, we go for the second series. And this will probably cover quite a few questions, actually. When I arrive, I'm not under contract. Second year, no contract. First year, yes. Second year, no contract. I then find, it took me a long time to find this out, because my agent didn't come clean about it, but they wanted Anushka Hempel to replace me. And that you can see it working because she has a husband, Frazier, so why she suddenly disappears and nothing, you know. I mean, I know series are strange, but... So basically Freddie had said that he wanted someone younger and prettier. You know, I'm mad about Freddie. Oh no, it's all right. It's not. I'm not. You know, I'm not taking it personally. But it's. You know, no one likes an insult, or no one likes to be told, especially at 36 or something, I'm old and not very pretty. I'm not pretty, I know, but I wouldn't say that was a criteria. And Anushka was my agent. So why my agent didn't warn me, I don't know. But basically, Anushka was not interested. I have to say, she's a very busy, very grand lady. She was happy to do a guest spot, but I don't think she wanted to wake up at 5:30 every morning. You know, it wasn't her scene. Not unless she was a star. Then, because Anushka, I think, also tested for the Maya part. I know. So I think she might have considered, you know, possibly that, but not poor old Sandra Benes going do, you know, incoming data. So I found that out, but basically, you know, they weren't... I mean, the first Metamorph wasn't bad. We got nice scenes with Tony. But after that, I could see it was going downhill. And also, all they would do was ring up. I mean, they changed Command Center and Main Mission because it was smaller. I was never going to go off. They weren't even going to write for me the way they did in the first year. At least I did, you know, strange, funny things. And... So, you can tell. You don't need a fortune teller. You just know how people treat, you know, the whole thing had changed. It wasn't as much fun. Some of the other people were there, but I just knew. And also Freddie, that's it. Freddie suddenly called me in. Whereas with Sylvia, it was, sit down, Zienia, would you like a cup of tea? You know, are you okay? How's your mother? How's the dog? You know, she's very, very politically correct and does all that. Freddie just didn't even ask me to sit down. Just said, standing there like a child in front of the headmistress. And he just said, right, we've changed your name, you're now called San. That's it. I walk out, I'm muttering, and Martin says, well, I know I bloody changed my name to San. What is it, Sandra so long you can't say it? I'm going to hold up the dialogue or something? San? And I know what that is, Star Trek, isn't it? They wanted Sulu or something, you know, a bit of Japanese, because they'd replaced me with a Japanese actress, hoping no one would notice. You know, I'd been in hydroponics overnight and my hair had grown, I think. So I knew that it was not going to be a happy place to be for me. So, and also since they weren't putting me under contract, so what they would do was like phone up today and say, right, we want you on Monday, half a day. So I would be paid for... my money went down, I can't tell you. I must have lost... I mean, I've said now half. It wasn't halved. It was quartered. In fact, yeah, at least quartered. Because I would get about one day, 2 days at most per episode. Other people within the industry, which I also had to take into account, because I was under contract and all the hype, they think you're with them. So, look, there's enough actresses out there. They're not going to say, oh, we want Zienia Merton. I'm not Julia Roberts. You know, they're going to say, oh, Zenia's working. Yes, she's doing that series. We go for someone else. So, you know, one has to start all over again to convince people that you are not actually there. So I said to my agent, I'm off. I'm leaving. Because they've shown, they want to replace me with someone prettier and younger. They won't have no respect for me as an actress human being because they can't even be bothered to give me a contract. So I go. Sorry, folks. That's it. I saw the casting director and said, sorry, Leslie, they're not writing for me. I'm going because there's no contract. I'm not breaking anything. And that's it. I'm sitting at home and Barbara phones me. And Barbara, and I go, what, hello? And she said, hello, darling, what are you doing? I said, not very much. She said, well, how do you feel? I mean, I don't know the exact words. I can only give you the gist, you know. How do you feel about coming back? And I said, well, maybe. But, you know, not just like that. I need to talk to somebody or clarify something. So they said, well, would you like to have lunch with, you know, Freddie and Jerry? And I thought, oh, gold. So I said, fine. So I go up to Pinewood, and I'm actually asked to sit down. Must have been Jerry's influence. You know, and Freddie's saying, oh, well, you know, we've had this, and there's inflation and that, and the costs have gone up. I said, excuse me, excuse me, don't tell me about cutbacks. I'm already suffered it at your hands by the fact that I'm not under contract. I am called like casual labour. And I said, quite honestly, Freddie, if you're that broke, I'll take you out to lunch, quite honestly. So basically we left it. And again, I'm very stupid. I'm really, really stupid. I don't play the game. I said, I'm artistic, very stupid. I thought, it's the part I want. Money is not important. I'm a poor woman, you know. I'm not going to argue on money terms, but I should have argued on money terms, because that's the only thing people like Freddie respect. If he's paying you more, he thinks he's getting a better product, you know. If he's paying you the same as last year, obviously you're past your sell-by date. So, but I sort of said, no, it's the part that counts. And so therefore, and I said to Freddie, I said, look, don't you understand the concept? I said, I walked out because all this, you know, the casualness of it all, and I'm not under contract, but I'm not worried about that, stupid woman. I said, but it's a part. And so I said, if you're writing something for me, then obviously I want to do it. But if you're not, I don't have to be here, you know? I said, can you not understand that concept? I don't know. So we left it that Freddie, that they would actually send me a script in advance, and I would look at it, and if I was happy, I would do it. And I said, I don't care, you know, I could be locked in the toilet with an alien, you know, and I don't care what you do. I mean, I don't have to be all gung-ho and butch. Happy to, you know, somebody's been sick in main mission, I'll clear it up, you know, I don't know, something fun. But the real reason for all this is nothing to do with anybody wanting me as such. Basically, in the first year, Barbara and Martin had it in their contract, as they did in the second year, that they would have a holiday 2 weeks in June or July. And the first year, the studio closed down. Nobody to this day can believe that our whole studio closed down. You know, usually they reschedule. We all went on holidays, you know, like kids to, you know, seaside with a bucket and spade. Woo, holiday time. We all zapped off. I actually came to Italy. I went to Florence. I was outside in Barga. I stayed in a beautiful place there, so I've been here before. And so basically that's why they asked me back. Barbara and Martin had written in their contract they were going on holiday, and they said suddenly there's nobody old left. You know, Barry wasn't there. I think Anton had got fed up. Prentice wasn't there. Nick was the only one. Okay, we've got Catherine and Tony, but, you know, there are no old faces. They said, you know, it's like Dallas, you know, he gets in the shower and nobody's there anymore, and it's all, ooh, what happened? I had a shower, and, you know, we've moved on 300 years. So they called me back, basically, to do Beta Cloud. And that was, you know, to take up the slack, yeah. And then, oh yeah, that's it. So, sorry, I'll carry on. And then we left it like that. They didn't give me any more money. You know, nobody was very nice. And I said, well, you know, I'm going to go. And they said, yeah, please do, Zienia. We won't hold you back. You know, you must do what's good for your career. I said, yeah, but you're not under contract, so there's nothing to do with you. So what then happened was I then got a film in Norway, which was the lead. And that's another story which you can ask me about if you want, but I won't hang you up on that. Okay. Certainly not at the time. I mean, we just, you know, I hate to say it, it's a job, you know, get up, it's like going to the office. It is our office. You hope it's going to be successful, obviously. You know, you don't put all that effort in, but then, you know, you go on to the next or whatever, as actors do. And it was only recently, I must say, because, again, I got a bit worried because I wasn't happy with second year. I was very aware not to say bad things about it. Unfortunately, somebody interviewed me back in 78, and the slant, it wasn't their fault, nothing. It's one of those things, it got lost in translation, as they say, I think, the movie. As I said, it wasn't anyone's fault. So when you edit this, be careful that I'm not, like, blaming someone, okay? If you don't want to say it, don't say it. But I don't want them to think that I'm blaming them. And I thought, no, I mustn't. It came over as though I was a bit bitter. And I thought, no, that mustn't happen again, ever. You know, people are not interested in the sense. They don't. I mean, I know they're gossip. People make money out of saying nasty things. I don't want to go down that route. That is not how I want to live life. It's too short and too precious. So I decided not to. But then I suddenly saw I think there was the Leeds convention that Tim and Glenn of Kindred took, and I saw the video, and everybody was coming out, and sort of Jerry was saying, well, Freddie was a nice man, but, you know, dreadful scripts, and somebody else was saying, and I thought, well, this is not just me. You know, everybody's being honest. I mean, you're not getting the real dirt, but everything wasn't heaven. So I thought, no, I can say things that I wasn't happy, that, you know, he didn't like me. There's no point, because, I mean, this is proved when in sort of 99 at the Breakaway Convention, Freddie was there giving a talk. I went over and I was thinking, you know, oh, you know, this is 30 years ago, don't be a stupid, you know, don't carry all that with you, the baggage. So I thought, I'll just go over. He was standing next to Johnny Byrne. He'd just done a talk. They were about to show Message. And I was very nervous, because I'd never seen Message before. I'd done it, but I hadn't seen it. And I thought, forget it, you know, life's too short. So I went over and I said, hi there, Freddie. And he turned to Johnny Byrne and he said, who is this woman? And I thought, nothing changes. 25 years on, I get the same, who is this woman? Except he would have called me a girl then. And Johnny looked horrified, you know, when he said, he was trying to explain, this is, you know, Zienia, she played, and I just went to Johnny. I was too nervous. I thought, I've done my bit, I'm not doing any more. You know, that is it. So, but then I suddenly thought people were saying, you know, coming out, and it's just amazing. You know, I've now been to places. I'm talking to you guys, ladies included in guys now, because of the fans. I am amazed at their sincerity, their loyalty. It's just amazing. I'm really, really touched. Actually, I think all of us are, in the sense that when we did it, we never expected, you know, things, they didn't have videos then, they didn't have, you know, DVDs, things get wiped. I mean, my Doctor Who is called a lost Doctor Who, because, you know, they've never kept it, and it's like the holy grail of Doctor, it's one of the best, you know. But I am amazed. And also, I mean, I was talking to Silvana last night, I'm really, really happy that all these groups have formed from the love of space, and, you know, they've made friends with each other. I just think that's a wonderful legacy. It's just, you know, it actually breaks me up when I hear about it, because I think that's so nice.